Hello and welcome in for our collective week ahead card pull. I'm coming to you on Sunday afternoon and getting a little bit of an earlier start as I have a little journey ahead of me today. My oldest daughter is returning to college after a long winter's break that we've all enjoyed, and it certainly is a little bittersweet that she is heading back. And I'll be taking her there and making the 3-hour round trip here in just a little while. So I wanted to come in and tap into the energies for this coming week, which is noteworthy because you may notice a little change on the altar here, some cards already out, because in fact, we have a full moon, the first one of the year, happening on Moon Day, Monday, tomorrow, January 13th. We have a full moon in Cancer. And so this is the altar space that I put together for the empowerment reading for the full moon. And I thought, we'll be in this energy here. We'll connect in to see what wants to come forward for this first lunation of this year as it sets us into the tone of this week ahead. And of course, this cycle that we begin. We're culminating and ending one cycle and beginning a new. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the astrological weather. But my thoughts were that I'll tap in here, see what's coming forward for us, and then we'll get as far as we get. And if I'm then in the car on my way, in the chariot, I'll marinate on the cards that came forward then and see what comes through if we haven't already chatted on the intuitive messages. So as we come in here to this week, we prepare for this full moon, which you likely may already be feeling the emotional waves that Cancer brings. And so, like I said, I'm going to touch on that in the energetic weather. We got into it much deeper in the empowerment full moon reading, which is available for anyone who would like to join us. There is a part 1 that I've recorded with that energetic weather. We did a full moon ritual and some other ways that you can connect in with this lunation. Then we had a special spread with a really cool deck. I have it here, so I'll just give you a little sneaky peek. This is a deck that I used actually for the new moon in Cancer that was back on July 5th of 2024. So we're kind of moving through that cycle. So I chose the Cosmic Cycles Tarot, which is really striking and did not disappoint in the messages it brought through in the spread. Wow. The spread that I did, and of course we had some bonus messages from the Queen of the Moon Oracle. Spoiler alert there, we're going to talk about that. And we did the Sacred Destiny Oracle. So that's also where I'm going to pull this week's Oracle message from to accompany the stunning winter season tarot that we are exploring this month here. This gorgeous deck. So everything coming together, all of these elements to set the tone for our first full moon of the year. I have some guidance in the back here from Moonology, which taps us into, the essence of a Cancer full moon. A personal issue reaches resolution. Let your fears dissolve. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that through the card that came forward from the Moonology, from the Queen of the Moon deck, rather. But let's get into our 5 tarot cards and oracle message, and then we'll get to it. So I'm actually going to spray. I'd like to bring in, because it was definitely, and you see a little color happening, I had intuitively brought this one onto the altar space. Then we pulled this beautiful card that has a magical keyword on it, which I'll share when we get into that card. So we have the Archangel Zadkiel, forgiveness and transmutation. Of course, this from the Angelic Celestial Colors aura sprays that I weave into all of my readings and Metatron color healings. So we're bringing in that vibration of transmutation because full moons are really about that forgiveness, release, letting go, clearing and transmuting to create space for the new beginnings on the other side. So let's connect in here through this beautiful lens of the winter season tarot to see what's coming forward for us collectively this week. What wanted to jump out? 7 of coins. Okay, noted. Yeah, Seven of Coins. This pause to take a patient reflection. Perfect. We'll talk about that right here. Yeah, all the seeds that have been planted and the seeds that have yet to be planted, all taking into account. So we are going to pull our 5 cards for Monday through Friday. If you are watching this on the Marco Polo app, my Empowerment Sharecast, you know the drill. If you're seeing this in one of my social media spaces, this is where we connect in with the collective each week and see what's coming in through some specific intentions. So let's have at it. Monday kicks off the week. What's coming forward for us this week? Monday is Moon Day, full moon day in Cancer. Yes, it is. You know we can't make it up in here. The moon. I mean, stop. That's awesome. Yeah. So it needs no other explanation. The moon coming in, which, you know, if you are with me for the year ahead spread, the 2025 year ahead reading, my biggest reading of the year, 25 cards, then you know I've already shared with you part 1. Which gets into the astrology, numerology, and symbology of 2025. We pulled a color crystal, 2 colors, crystal, spirit, animal, and raise your vibration message. Anyone who would like to join, that reading will be available ongoing. It's a big one. It sets the tone for you for the year. In addition to that part 1 that I just did, part 2 are 20 cards just for you, a wheel of your year by the month, overarching tarot energy for the year, 4 oracle cards for each quarter, and more. But what I wanted to say here is just making me laugh. The numerology, spoiler alert again, that the Queen of the Moon oracle card is number 9. Now we just pulled the moon, number 18, which is also a 9 energy, and in fact, the number for 2025. So we really got into it in that reading, but you're just going to keep hearing me say and seeing the cards confirm, you know, this is the year of the Hermit in the tarot, card 9, and card 18, the moon, as its complementary energy. So there it is, coming right forward for us. So now we get into Tuesday's energy, which represents a potential block or challenge this week. And again, these cards are not specifically for each day. Time is not linear. They're just placeholders for the week. These energies work together throughout, and you're always invited to take what resonates and leave the rest. That's how it works with a collective reading. There's always someone there to pick it up. But I do love to hear from you in the wild ways in which these cards, in fact, play out for each of us throughout the week. Even if we don't see the meaning up front, by the end of the week, we have some real insight into how it was coming through for us. So the best way, of course, to get more specific guidance is to have a personal reading amongst my comprehensive offerings, but also I do offer a free card pull here this week. If you would like one, you can just reach out to me in a way that works for you, and I will get to those this week. They're happening typically maybe later in the week, just moving through the volume of comprehensive sessions, especially with the full moon this week, but feel free to let me know if you would like a card pull this week. Okay, let's see what's coming in now for Tuesday's potential block or challenge. 2 of Swords, choice point, crossroads, decision. Yeah, opportunities to see new pathways can be challenging. Beautiful. I'm still geeking out over here with these cards. Many of them I haven't seen yet in readings. And so when they pop up like that one, pretty cool. I hadn't seen that one yet either. Okay, Wednesday is a midweek blessing. So a midweek blessing here this week. Wednesday's energy. 4 of Coins. This has been a recurring card and one that came up in conversation in the full moon empowerment reading, because once again, and this is in concert with the astrology around this full moon happening tomorrow, Monday, the 13th of January, that really asks us to look at what we're investing in and what we're holding on to, and energy expense, and, how we may want to reinvest or, release, in some cases, things that we've been trying to hold on to tightly, trying to control, so there's a blessing in here in what we value and what we are really investing in. So we'll talk about that. Now we have Thursday. How are we growing this week? How are we growing? Ooh, I saw this one in passing and I was like, this is awesome, Dani'el. Dani'el Norman, the creator of this gorgeous deck. This is Perspective, the Hanged Man. I love it. A little bit of a snowboard jump. I gotta say, I myself am not a skier or a snowboarder. I'm much better in the lodge watching perhaps a hot toddy. No. Yeah. I dropped out of kindergarten ski school on the bunny slopes when I was about 25 years old. It was my first time, and I was the probably oldest person in the group, and I dropped out, and little kids were running circles around me. But it is really cool. So we'll talk about that. Perspective. And Friday wraps up the week. Friday wrapping up the week. Okay. 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, we've been seeing this one too. So opportunities for us again to look up and see what is available to us through the rejection, the closed doors, to the key to our door being just there. So there's a lot in here too that we will get into. So we got 4 of coins and 5 of coins this week. So again, just kind of following the sequence of what's coming forward. All right, let's pull. I did pull a Sacred Destiny Oracle card in the full moon empowerment reading. And in fact, it brought forward one of the key words that I'm going to share with you in the energetic weather report about this full moon. I left it out of the shuffle because that's especially in that reading. But I can tell you it's one of the A words I'll be sharing here in just a few minutes. Okay, Sacred Destiny Oracle bringing forward a message for us for this week to punctuate these tarot messages that have come forward. What do we need to know on the where to from here and this Sacred Destiny as we move through these cycles and phases? What's coming through? One card, please. Ooh, flexibility. Yeah. Somewhere between the rigidity of the 4 of Pentacles and the Perspective card lies flexibility. I love it. All right, we'll get into that one there at the end of our spread. Okay, let's get into some energetic weather and we'll take it from there. Thank you guys so much. Let's take a look. All right, let's get into some of this energetic weather this week. A few things to point out, beginning with that big, beautiful full moon in Cancer coming in right out the gate on Monday, Moon Day, January 13th. So again, this is our first full moon of 2025, and it's falling in that watery, intuitive sign of Cancer. And a full moon loves to be in the sign of Cancer. So already we're getting these waves of harmony that are flowing in. And with that, I say emotion, feels, and floods of them at times. So again, those of us who are sensitive especially, or depending on, your own astrology, you're going to be receiving this full moon in varying degrees. Waves is a key word that is really being used here. But harmony is flowing in with that. And so, Cancer, in Cancer, the moon allows us to feel secure and to give us a sense of comfort that all will be well. That's a mantra of this full moon. Now, with that though, and also Mars will be very active under this full moon. Mars has been front and center on the stage as we stepped into 2025 and continues to be bringing in that fiery entrance here into this first part of the year. Now, with Mars being very active under this full moon, it's once again encouraging us to review and assess, can't make it up, wait till you see our Queen of the Moon Oracle card, how we are choosing to spend our time and energy. Oh, isn't that interesting with that 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, the Hanged Man perspective, all showing up in our spread this week. How are we choosing? 2 of Swords as well, to spend our time and energy? Are we giving to things that are no longer serving us? Are we expending energy in a fruitless direction? So we may feel the need to shed patterns of the past and to think about ways that we can shift in a more abundant direction. So you can use the energy of this full moon to let go of those patterns and behaviors that are no longer serving you. Now, with that, in the empowerment full moon reading, we get into, Cancer being the sign of the home, of our families, mother, identities, and so much more. So these are the areas in which a lot of this could be coming up. And as I said, if you want to go deeper, that part 1 is already ready. I will put a link here either at the end of our chat on the Empowerment Sharecast or in the description caption below where you're seeing this. You can always just reach out to me and I will get you all set up to join us for this empowerment reading for this big first full moon of 2025, and we go deeper. So part 1, ready for you. Part 2 is your personal card pulls where we pull an additional tarot and oracle card message and really weave into that spread to see what's coming forward for you. Now, also pointing out this week, January 15th, Sun opposite Mars retrograde. So this is an important day in this current Mars retrograde cycle. It gives us some clarity on what Mars retrograde has been bringing up for us. So we may begin to see that bigger picture, or perhaps start to understand how we're being called to recalibrate our energy levels. So you see, this is the beauty in when we tune into these cycles, right? This energetic weather is about us just being aware of what's in the atmosphere so that we can tune in and flow with those energies. So we have a full moon in Cancer coming in to illuminate, right? It brings the light. And then we have a Mars retrograde in Cancer. Again, we're being shown about this thing on our energy and our investments, and where old stories and old habits and old patterns are ready to be released and transmuted so that we can step into the new. So this is definitely a day to be aware of. So that's going to be Wednesday, our midweek. So again, we'll talk about that when we get in. You can't make this up, right? Wednesday was 4 of Pentacles. 4 of coins, right? 4 of coins, 4 of Pentacles, the card of what are you holding on to? What are you investing in? It's so perfect. So this is what I love about it. It just doesn't matter what medium we're tuning into. You're drawn to what speaks to you. And like I often say, I'm not an astrologer. I am an enthusiast. I love my cards. I love the stars, and I love to weave together all of these elements. And anywhere you look, you can find these answers through your own intuitive lens, right? Using your own innate knowing, being empowered using these tools. So this is just where I'm geeking out a little bit because it just is so cool. Finally, highlighting for you on Saturday of next week, January 18th, Venus conjunct Saturn. So Venus, the planet of love, aligns with Saturn, our Lord of Karma, in Pisces. Venus and Saturn together can teach us that love can be beautiful, but also painful. Love can be bliss, but also suffering too. All things can come from love. And today, January 18th, is a good day to practice self-love and to remember that the more we love ourselves, the more we can heal, the more we can thrive, and the more we can open ourselves to being loved by others. So yes, a blend of some of that tough love that's coming in there through the lessons, but also opportunities then to turn us toward filling our own cup, and investing in self and self-love. So some energy to be aware of there before we would meet again for our card pulls on the other side of next week. All right, let's take a look now at our Queen of the Moon Oracle card that came forward in the empowerment reading to set the tone for the full moon in Cancer. All right, so here we have this gorgeous matchy goodness going on with the Queen of the Moon Oracle card that came forward to really set the tone with the messages that we're tapping into for this full moon in Cancer. The beautiful assessing card. Now, once I had pulled this card, I was kind of getting what I was calling like the triple A's, okay? So it was like assessing, aligning, and then taking action. So we had these 3 A's that were coming in amongst others, because then I started seeing them everywhere. It was like acknowledging, and again, this alignment to the assessing and the action. So this card comes in, and as I mentioned in the card pull, it is number 9, which of course is the frequency of this year, 2025, really bringing us to go within, but also this culmination period, this time of really starting to wrap things up to prepare for new beginnings, full moon energy coming in here then with the number 9 as the assessing card. Now you see that it's side by side with the forgiveness and transmutation energy that we've infused into our week ahead reading here, to connect in with taking this beat, taking this moment to assess. And the message coming in from the Queen of the Moon says, it is time to assess your current position. You must make sure your blind spots are revealed and that you are honest with others and yourself. Sometimes the hardest decision is the best decision. You should be able to assess and move quickly based on that assessment. Now, this is so interesting because the affirmation that goes with this card says, I am enjoying moving and choosing, moving and choosing. Now, as we pulled the cards for this week, we're going to be looking at those here in just a few moments. We received as our potential block or challenge this week a card of choice, the 2 of Swords, that crossroads, that place where our perspective may be limited or locked in one direction or the other, and there's some confusion or potential challenge in knowing where to go. And then on the other side, for Thursday's card, we pulled the perspective card, the Hanged Man, but it was how we are growing. So on one hand, it's challenging to be faced at a crossroads, to have to make choice. And on the other hand, there's this pause, this stuckness that comes through the Hanged Man, which actually offers us a renewed perspective to then take action. And as I mentioned, a big hint here is that the Sacred Destiny card we pulled was one of those A words. So it's all coming together, right? It's all connected here. And so I am enjoying moving and choosing, moving and choosing. And if that's you and you're clear, or you're feeling stuck in that 2 of Swords or somewhere in between, this energy is coming forward to support us through assessment, right? It says, you have begun your journey, and now it is time to assess where you are and what to do next. You have made a decision. You have worked and walked the path for some time, and yet you understand that in every journey, it's a wise action to check the map. Sometimes we go along a pathway and we keep going, even if it seems like that way is no longer the right way for us. Sometimes we feel we have gone too far to turn around, and so we settle on a journey and destination that doesn't really suit us or satisfy us. However, if we had just had some courage, we could have reassessed as we went and perhaps ended up somewhere else, somewhere better. I'll say somewhere more aligned, right? Now is the time to look carefully at all aspects of your life, especially the areas in which you have set some intentions or goals. Ask yourself, do I still want these things? Do I still want the same end result? If the answer is no, ask yourself what you can do to maintain momentum and head towards what you now desire. Although it doesn't seem terribly glamorous, assessment is a high payoff for us if we bother to do it well. Doing it well means we really look and look hard at how things are going. All of us have some kind of blind spot, so it's worth exposing this by consulting a trusted friend or finding where negative repeating patterns are and looking for the cause. Shining a light on a blind spot and taking action to shift, it is one of life's biggest catalysts for change. Like I said, guys, I'm just saying, and it makes more sense when you see the whole reading, but this is how it unfolded. I tapped into this full moon. We pulled the assessing card. Then we take a look at the energetic weather, and all of the astrology is supporting this energy, right? So we talk all about that. The buzzwords are flowing. It's time to assess, time to take action on the other side of getting clear. And then we cap it off by pulling an action card. Now we meet here and we're tapping into the tarot once again. And I mean, everything I've read so far is literally our cards this week are reading like a storyboard. So it's really powerful. There's signs and symbols everywhere we look. And so, this card, even the 7 of Pentacles that flew out while I was shuffling for our card pull this week, is the same message: to stop, to pause, to assess, to reassess, to take a look at what seeds we've planted, what we've been cultivating, what we're nurturing. The cards go on to say, well, what are you putting your energy into? Does this match the things that you have been working on? Do you even still want those things? And so there's a necessary pause for reflection. There's some hold up maybe, but it's all serving. So depending on where you are in there, if you are feeling any frustration about being told like, well, hold up just a second, take stock, reassess once again, like, well, wait a minute, new year, new me, I'm off and running. I have my goals, my intentions. I want to do this. And then we get held up as we see it. But actually, I think if you're here and you're listening to these messages, you are growing in the knowing about that perspective and just how powerful it is, because that's what we're going to talk about with the Thursday card for sure. So let's get into now our tarot messages for the week, starting with Monday, setting the tone for this week to get a little more insight here through the cards. All right, we are starting with our Monday card that came forward saying, duh. Yeah, it's a full moon, baby. We got the moon card from the tarot. So yeah, this major arcana, significant energy that represents the moon on the day of our first full moon of the year. And so very connected to this energy, the assessing card that we just talked about, the frequency 9, which we also see reflected in card 18 as well, with the 1 + 8 also giving us that frequency. We tap into this full moon, which is in its home sign of Cancer. So we have this sense of all of the feels and the flow and this watery energy that brings great emotion. It brings us into home. It brings us into our identities. So the winter season tarot says, dance under the light of the moon on a cool winter's night. The subconscious mind has the answers that you seek, but beware of the illusions that surround it. Get grounded, dance with your energy, and find sanctuary in your magical abilities. Flow with the energy of the lunar cycles. Keep in mind that just because you see one thing in one way on one given day does not mean that you will see it that way the next time it comes back into your vision. Do you see this card jumping up and down in the background with that message? Yeah, our potential blocker challenge this week, 2 of Swords. So it's all just so connected. So that's an important message there to know about these different phases, as the moon shows us and shines down on us with that message that there are times where there is a complete absence of light, partial light. And you see, even in the altar cloth that I chose here, the full moon is behind these beautiful iced evergreen branches, and yet it shines back there, even if we cannot see it in full. And so the way we see things one time can vary widely from the way we may see it again. the next time that it comes into our vision. So maybe it is real or maybe it is an illusion. Figure out what is right for you. Allow yourself to be guided by your intuition. And that's the thing too, like not only is there a lot of feels and flow and all the things that Cancerian energy can bring, but also in concert with a lot of the other aspects that we're in right now. I had shared earlier on the Empowerment Sharecast about our 111, just yesterday, Saturday. This very powerful master number 111 was the date as the nodes change signs. And we talked about specifically the North Node in Pisces. Again, another highly intuitive, psychic, watery, dreamy energy. So again, conditions are ripe for you to potentially be tapping into any number of these things and feeling them. And again, the results will vary in terms of what they look like to you in any given moment. So there's a lot of that potential for illusion or illusory and things not being what they seem and, being illuminated on the other side of some of these cycles that we may not have full clarity, etc. So having an awareness of that and being able to just be in any moment to see what we see and feel into, what our intuition tells us. So that's all something that's being illuminated here for us in these energies. So like I said, we really get into that in the full moon empowerment reading. If you would like to join, it's available to really go deep, pull some cards for you. But we're going to go into now our collective messages this week on the other side with this full moon coming in for the second full week of January and of 2025. Let's take a look now at that Tuesday card. All right, Tuesday represents our potential block or challenge this week, which I don't know. I mean, yeah, it could definitely hit us in a number of ways, but I feel really hopeful with the rest of this spread, especially that perspective card for how we're growing, that I feel like a little bit of that wool has been pulled off from our eyes, that we're starting to catch on with this way that the universe works and how we can be in flow and in rhythm with these cycles to say that when you find yourself at a crossroads, when you're feeling bound or stuck in some way and it's not clear which way do I go, right? And that's what we see here. Let me keep it up here so you can see. And we're saying that she stands here with this way or that way, right? And trying to decide. And yet actually this path is right there the whole time. Look how gorgeous that is. So there is this sense of, and traditionally you'll see a Two of Swords where the figure is blindfolded and bound and she's got those two swords sort of crossing her. So she's sort of locked up or, in this state of immobility, a real challenge, right? A block maybe. Where do I go? How do I get there? And yet we see that it's right there, and this is something that we'll see again this week. So it's all being reiterated for us again with that gentle teacher energy of like, hey, if we didn't see it the first time, here it is again, and just helping us to really catch on to say, wow, this is reflecting back to me the potential for what appears to be a block, what appears to be a challenge. And this is not to minimize how it feels when we're in the moment of said block or challenge, but that actually once we find that clarity, when we remove that blindfold from our own eyes, we see through fresh eyes, new perspective. Because the swords represent our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, very much in the head. So that is that lower vibrational energy, that ego mind talking to us, keeping us locked up and playing safe and small, right? But actually there's this beautiful mystical path just in front of us there. So let's see. Two of Swords. There are two paths to take, but if you zone in, you will see that the path is already laid out right there in front of you. Which path will you take towards what is truly meant for you? You are facing a hard decision. Seek clarity and weigh all options with each decision. There is something that you are missing that will help to make your choice that much easier. What is your intuition telling you? Look straight ahead. So, that's what I like to think is like when I'm feeling blocked, when I'm feeling challenged, it's literally the squeaky wheel. It's the thing that says, hey girl, hey, look up, right? Pause. Stop, collaborate, and listen, like really hone in. Because if I'm feeling blocked, it just means I haven't seen it yet. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean that it's not for me. It doesn't mean that, sometimes the mind will say, see, this is why we don't do this. This is why we don't step out of our comfort zone. And we persevere, and that's another message of this 9-year is to persevere, keep going, right? And so this pause, this block, this hang up is just a blip. It's just a phase. And it's an important one though, because there's much to be seen, to be gleaned from that pause, from that moment, from that crossroads. So, again, to the extent that that feels challenging, let that be your nudge from the universe that says, wait a minute, what am I supposed to do when I feel blocked, when I feel challenged? What was that thing I'm supposed to do? Oh yeah, look up, pause, take a look around, open my intuitive eye and let myself feel into what my inner knowing, my inner compass is telling me. And just try it, and that's what I'm saying. Whatever, if some of these things are hitting for you more so than others, etc., if you would like a personal card pull this week, we can focus on that for you. You just let me know and we'll bring that in, weave that into your personal card pull. So let's go ahead now and look at this Wednesday card for our midweek blessing. All right, Wednesday represents our midweek blessing, and we have a recurring energy that's been coming up here before even the new year, 4 of Coins, asking us to take a look at what we're investing in, what we're holding on to. And I love this brilliant interpretation here with chopping the wood and really kind of gathering that, because, what's the blessing in all of that is to say, yes, from one perspective, there is the storing up, saving up, wise investments, right? And then the other side that we're being asked to look at is if we are holding on tightly to certain things, or if we have been investing in something that's actually not worth the squeeze, that we are no longer benefiting from putting our energy into something that we have an opportunity to redirect. And we're hearing that in many of the messages that we've already tapped into. So I'm kind of going with that in light of how gorgeous this card is to say, wise investments, right? To make some wise investments in terms of what we're putting our energy into and planning ahead in terms of future focus, not serving the past, but in this moment now, what am I doing? Inspired action I'm taking to create that abundant future. So let's take a look here. 4 of Coins. Save money on your heating bill by splitting wood and having a fireplace to keep the house warm. So you may be caught between a position of financial stability and the value of material wealth. On one hand, you have worked very hard for your money. On the other, you may be becoming possessive about your material wealth to ensure that no one takes it away from you. Trust that the universe is taking care of you. If there is too much control, then there is an imbalance. Be aware of your thought process around money. So yeah, when we're talking coins and pentacles energy, we're talking money, yes, but material wealth of all kinds, right? So what it is that is this form of energy that we tune into, and your time and your attention is also a commodity, right? And so if you find yourself engaging in things like doom scrolling and getting overly involved with lower vibrational, especially this exists out there on the internet for sure, the places that distract and detract and take us to that lower vibrational place, and we're putting a lot of energy into that, is that a good use of your time? And are you getting the return on investment? So, opportunities for us to look at the places where we've been holding on our attention to, or that we've really been investing our time, our energy, our talents into, that may not be serving us. Maybe it served before, but it doesn't serve us now. And so as we look forward, we kind of rearrange what it is that we wish to do and invest in with our funds of all kinds, right? And so again, all of the cards here are reiterating this and underscoring it, but this is as a blessing. So it is saying, yes, you may be coming into having this abundance because you're planning wisely, because you're taking those steps to put your energy into. And again, I love this example of having the fireplace to warm the home, chopping the wood. That means you're doing the work. You're putting in the energy in order to withdraw energy out, right? So we put something in and then there's this exchange. And so, all of that comes full circle again to bring in that harmony and balance, the things that we were saying here about these cards as we were first tapping into the energies this week. So it's really beautiful because if it is feeling tight, if it is feeling controlling, or you're feeling very rigid, remember, we're going to end the week with our flexibility message here from Sacred Destiny. We're getting this guidance to open up a little bit, to loosen up a little bit, to look up a little bit, right? And we're going to see that again as we wrap up the week with the Friday card, which is the subsequent card here in the coin suit, the 5 of coins on the other side of the 4. So all coming up as a blessing, and it can be a blessing in disguise, right? Because if we had made an investment and it didn't work out the way we planned, or we didn't get the return we hoped for, and remember, yes, this can be about money, but it can also be a lot more than that. The relationships that we invested in, the jobs, the work, just whatever it is that we really put something of meaning into that actually is turning out to no longer be aligned or not to return what we may have expected. These things show up in many different ways. But again, let that be the indicator that's saying to you, hey, look up, take a look. What are you holding on to tightly? Where is there an opportunity for more flexibility? And allow. So let's take a look now at how we're growing there with our next card for Thursday. All right, Thursday is our card that represents how we are growing this week, and I'm loving it. I love this take on the Hanged Man perspective with the snowboarder. So I already shared during the card pulls that I am not snow sport worthy, not in my wheelhouse, but I respect it. But I love the symbolism that, this hanging upside down in a moment, like suspended there. And again, Hanged Man can often be a pause by force, something that perhaps we may not be all in about this hang up, this delay, this pause, but actually we're invited to see that it's in those moments that some of the greatest clarity and ahas can come in. So as we look back over the ground we've covered already this week in this notion of the potential block or challenge of that 2 of Swords, that crossroads, that inability to see additional paths that are available to us that may in fact be more aligned, assessing where we are connects directly in with this energy to take a beat, take a pause in that moment, see it from a higher perspective. So the Winter Season Tarot says, hit the jump and allow the world to slow down, right? Slow down. Change your perspective and thought process. Again, 2 of Swords. To create the best path for yourself in the long run, you are being asked to put choices and decisions on hold. Yes, so the 2 of Swords was our potential block or challenge this week. That can be frustrating. What do you mean, hurry up and wait? It's a new year. I'm ready to go, right? I want to go. Why am I being held up? Why the delay? Why the unclarity? So take that moment. If you're being asked to put them on hold, let that be your hold up, wait a minute. I'm supposed to look up and expand my awareness when this happens. I don't like it when this happens. My ego surely doesn't like it when this happens, but I remember, right? Because I'm putting together these signs, these symbols, feeling into the energy that when this happens, it's that nudge for me to take a wider look. Right? So it talks about your past way of thinking no longer serves you. You cannot continue to think in the same way and expect things to change. Take a time out and reflect. You are in a transitional phase. You may need to give something up in order for you to proceed. Now, we just talked about the 4 of Coins as our midweek blessing. What are we investing into? What are we spending? What are we saving? What are we holding on to? Again, these cards are so beautiful together this week, this story that's weaving for us. And again, you tap into it through your own intuitive lens, how it's speaking to you. Results will vary. Tune in with what resonates, leave the rest. But I do always love to hear from you in the ways, the wild ways, that sure enough, it does show up, and we have an opportunity to connect in through this beautiful tool that is the tarot, and certainly in this gorgeous deck. So perspective, opportunity for us to flip it upside down and see it from different vantage points. Look up, right? Look out, expand. So like I said, I am hopeful that, especially if you're tuning into these messages, that we're here learning and growing through these experiences. And that's exactly what this card represents for our Thursday energy. How are we growing in the knowing that these pauses, delays, hangups serve? So how can I use whatever energy I find myself in, preferred or not? Right? And so speaking of that, we'll fold into now the Friday card to wrap up the week we've got coming in, and then we'll finish things off with our Sacred Destiny Oracle card for the week. Let's take a look. All right, finally Friday, bringing us to wrap up the tarot messages for the week. We have the Five of Coins coming in through this gorgeous depiction. Following through from that Four of Coins, right? We've had this story weaving throughout, the moon coming in for Monday, shining that light, casting that light, illuminating the rest of the week with our potential blocker challenge as the Two of Swords, our midweek blessing as the Four of Coins. How are we growing? Perspective, the Hanged Man, and finally wrapping it all up and tying it together, the Five of Coins. So, yes, this is a card that can represent financial losses or material losses. It highlights health and wellness and just in general, being on the outs, down and out, or FOMO energy. There's many different ways that this card can come forward. And as it is brought in through the winter season tarot, it says, where there is will, there is a way. So where there was once security, now there is loss. Misfortune, poverty, stress, and financial suffering are now in front of you. Beware of your thought process at this time. Focusing only on the negative aspects and lack of what you have will only give you more of that. The key to unlocking and letting go of this stress is right in front of you. Learn what you can from this and move forward. Help is closer than you think. It's funny because I tend to bring in the FOMO energy of this card where I say, hey, look at that, this warm, inviting place inside. Everybody's in there, but I'm on the outs, out here in the cold, in lack in some way. And clearly we see how it is beautifully depicted here with them being on the outside in the cold, where I always saw it as I see that stained glass window. I see that light on inside. But actually, as well, when we talk about look up, right? When we have challenges and blocks and things coming up, that there is an opportunity that we might be missing right in front of us. Like, did they notice that warm, cozy space was just there in front of them, that opportunity? And so there's various ways you can look at it, because if you feel that you're on the outs and when's it going to be my time and when am I going to find my space, then there's that perspective. Also, there's the potential that we feel that way, but we're missing something. We haven't seen it. And this is where the universe brilliantly then will hold us up. We will get stuck in a spot where we are meant to stop and pause and expand that view. So again, it's all speaking to each other. All of these cards are all bringing home this message about expansion, right? Seeing things more widely from your own intuitive place. You have to go within in order to shine out. And when you do that, these paths will be illuminated for you, a way forward. With the FOMO energy is also the notion that, no, I didn't get invited in, or that door closed, or I never got to walk through that door. I thought it was for me. Why isn't it opening? And we spin our wheels. But actually, an opportunity for us to see that through that rejection was great protection and redirection, an opportunity for us to, yes, be in that space where we feel those feels, where we have that experience of loss or being rejected, that actually we then see at some point that we were greatly protected from something that really wasn't meant for us or that wasn't in the greatest alignment for us. Remember these key words that are coming forward with this full moon through assessing, alignment, and action. So we're having this opportunity to really feel into assessing all that has come to pass, where we find ourselves here, in that potential block or challenge of this Two of Swords. And we see this away or that away, but actually this is this way that is so beautifully right in front of us, but perhaps we were missing it because we may have been caught up in a story of lack, a story of loss, and a belief in, this being what always happens. And then, of course, the universe works really hard to give us whatever we put out. So if that's our belief, if that's what we're sitting in, that is what will be reflected back to us, and our experience will be as such as well. So, there's just so many ways that these cards are speaking to us. I also feel a lot of collective energy and things that are happening in the macrocosm as well that are reflected here with some wider messages. So, of course, as we unfold over on my Empowerment Sharecast this week, each day I'll pull in a little short from each of these cards using the Audible Mystics interpretation of each card. And I like to kind of see how it never fails. It all comes together to really bring us back full circle to the messages that we brought in here with our collective energy. And again, if you would like a personal card pull to see more deeply how these cards may be showing up for you this week, please feel free to respond in any way that works for you. I am working through them in between my comprehensive work this week, but I do those over on the free Marco Polo app and the Empowerment Sharecast, my free space where you are invited to join me for these musings and more. We have a lot of fun stuff planned for this month, not only with this gorgeous deck, we've got the Chinese New Year coming in at the end of the month, and we're going to be doing some fun pick a cards and such. So if you want to join me for any of the comprehensive offerings I have going on right now, front and center is the full moon empowerment reading that is happening now. I'm recording this, of course, on Sunday ahead of the week. This is Friday's card. So whenever you're coming in, no worries. You can hop in if it speaks to you, but the full moon reading is ready to rock. So let me know if you would like to join. Also, I am completely immersed in all of the 2025 year ahead spreads. That's my biggest reading of the year, 25 cards for you. So that is also still available. All right, we've got one card left to go. We're going to tune in now to our Sacred Destiny message. Let's take a look. All right, our final card for the week, our bonus message here is flexibility, coming from the Sacred Destiny. And this one is called Bamboo in Wind. It says the symbolism of bamboo runs deep, where as many larger, seemingly stronger trees will break in high winds, bamboo simply bends and sways. Its flexibility allows it to survive and even thrive, while other species suffer. Even during a hard winter, when its branches are laden with snow, bamboo doesn't break. It snaps back when the snow melts in the spring. It also has a strong root system so that even during great storms, it survives. Additionally, it is often a symbol of abundance because of its rapid growth. Its upward, verdant, constant growth is used as a metaphor for the fulfilling rise of prosperity. So the sacred landscape wants you to know. The meaning of this card is rich and varied. It cautions you to be flexible in your life. Be willing to bend and yield. There are times to stand strong, but there are also times to go around a situation rather than face it head on. This card suggests being amenable to change. It is also a fantastic card for abundance and prosperity, and it suggests that if you are flexible, prosperity can and will come your way in all areas. Additionally, it suggests that a time of rapid growth is ahead. Don't resist it. The time is right for this surge of spiritual growth to occur. So yeah, that's such an important message, especially as we had tuned into our midweek blessing with the Four of Coins, which is a card, as we talked about, that can represent a bit of fixed, controlling, rigid energy, that actually this flexibility is coming in to remind us about bending and not breaking, right? And being able to move through different phases, stages, seasons, climates, as it gave us that comparison of bamboo in the snow, which is funny because I guess I never really thought, I'm in the northeast of the US, in Pennsylvania. We're in the midst of winter here. And yet as you drive around, a lot of people have bamboo, whether it lines their properties or, and as far as it being an invasive species or something, to this area, not native to this area for sure. But I guess I always thought to myself, like, wow, I'm amazed that it still grows in the winter, because I guess I was thinking that it grows in a different climate. And yet we got this comparison here of bamboo covered in snow being able to persevere and then snap back in the thawing. And so again, so symbolic to the energies we've been tuning into this month and will continue to explore in the winter season tarot, that no matter where you are in the world and what season it is for you in northern or southern hemisphere, that there just is this energy of remaining flexible and really believing in your innate ability, right, to abundance. I think we'll probably, as the week goes on, explore some tiger energy, because that tiger is winking at me, to look at maybe the spirit animal essence of tiger too, to connect in with this energy of abundance in through flexibility. And I think that's interesting in light of the Four of Coins being like, what are you investing in, and making wise investments. And then that Five of Coins talking about loss and lack. So again, wherein lies the path forward. And we take a pause here this week to really assess, have a widening perspective, and then perhaps take some inspired action in the new week, which sounds fantastic to me, because the next time we meet for our card pulls for the following week, we'll be entering into Aquarius season, baby. So things are going to shift. So happy birthday, future birthday, to those Aquarians that may be catching this. So, all right, guys, I wasn't sure if I was going to get through all of this before I hopped in my chariot to take my oldest back to college, but it looks like we squeaked it out. So thank you so much if you've been watching live, if you're catching it here at the top of the week. I do also put these messages not only on the free Empowerment Sharecast, but also on my YouTube channel. And I'm feeling inspired this week to share on my Instagram and Facebook as well. So if you've seen it there, thank you for checking it out. Please feel free to reach out to me if you want to know more. It's really easy. The link is there to join my free Empowerment Sharecast on Marco Polo. It's just a quiet space tucked away from the noise of social media. It's easier for me to get real creative over there. We have a lot of fun. So not to neglect these other platforms, but I just tend to put a lot of my stuff over there. So I'd love to have you. That's where I offer free personal card pulls as well. So thank you guys so much for checking it out. I'm sending you all much love, full moon blessings, and we'll talk soon.